My name is Greg Grimes, owner of Aquatic Environmental Services. We work with other lake management companies in years past, went to get our master's in fisheries, started our company a few years ago, and have been traveling the Southeast helping clients grow some big bass. We work on a lot of lakes, and I would say 90% of those are lacking proper habitat. Even from the beginning stages when we construct a lake, it quickly gets to where it's low habitat. Some habitat you need are places for bass to loaf and orient and travel, but the main thing that we focus on is enough dense habitat. And so what you've got to have is, if you have vegetation, let's say, you can easily have 20% of the lake go beyond that, I should say, more than 20% in natural aquatic vegetation that just takes off. You know, most lakes are the other way though. They have 1 or 2%. Somebody will say, yeah, man, I put in 2 Christmas trees. Well, you needed 200 Christmas trees to get that. So what we're shooting for is 20 to 30% of the lake in some type of habitat, and a lot of that percentage in dense habitat. And that's where artificial comes in. You can kind of do the math on what you're getting with that. You can start to put that in. You can go in a program. So hey, over the next 2 or 3 years, we're going to hit that 20% threshold by adding some habitat every year that we know is not going to deteriorate and we know is not going to take off in the lake. Truly in a new pond, we'll use a lot of natural stuff, you know, some trees that may have been pushed down, but again, and they're great. But again, that's difficult in an existing lake. A client's going to spend quite a bit of money with us trying to sink, you know, concrete, you know, to sink some of these Christmas trees, versus they can go out and easily drop some of these artificial habitats in, and they're easy to assemble and they're easy to install. So we really prefer the artificial, and truthfully, several research projects have shown that combination of artificial and natural is really the optimal way to go. The benefits of artificial habitat they're multiple, and they're multiple products, you know, to hit kind of each of those benefits. So artificial habitat can be in the form of a lily pad, so it's got some shade, you know, underneath it, so a fish can orient down there. It can be in the form of a bunch of different spacing, so you have little fish and bigger fish. It can be in the form of maybe more of a grass, and so you've got some surface area where not only do you have eggs, but you have periphyton, it's called, growing on that substrate, and it's also providing a lot of surface area to hide in. So they all have their purpose, and you really need to think that through when you're doing a program and see that you're covering all the bases. So you need some loafing cover, some hangout cover for bass, which is more open. You need some dense cover to hide little bluegill. So in talking about the lily pad, you know, I don't know of a single bass fisherman that doesn't like to run a frog around a lily pad and have them blow up. So Texas hunters came up with this lily pad design. What I really like about it, and I think its big advantages, is shade. The more shade you have, the more opportunity for a bass to hang out in there. I mean, it's just really cool to see. That's called counter shading on the fish. Just cool to see if you've ever snorkeled. You get back in there just barely in shade, you can hardly see the fish. So it's providing an ambush point, if you will, for the predator. So there's going to be fish hanging around it, but I really like the fact there's going to be a bass right there. You can pitch a jig right up on top of the lily pad and just kind of naturally enter into there. And they just look cool, to be honest with you. They're really easy to install. Like we talked about with some other stuff, they're not going to take over. Most lily pads are going to take over a pond or a lake. So we really, unless you've got some deep water offset by itself, I really like the opportunity of using an artificial lily pad versus a natural one. So the fishing lily is a little different than the lily pad. It's going to be clustered up. It's got a lot of edges to it. What's really cool about that is just you can drop it in there and really have an instant attraction for the fish. It's going to provide instant habitat and some of that instant shade that we're looking for. The other advantage of the fishing cluster too is that you can move it. You know, vegetation is going to grow where it wants to grow. Every species of vegetation has a different place that it wants to grow in. This way you can put these clusters that mimics that natural vegetation anywhere you want to. And if it comes time that you want to move it to another spot, it's easy to just pick up, take it to another location, drop it back down again, and you have instant fishing. The fish grass is just, it's one of my favorite products out there. It just provides a ton of surface area. It provides that hiding place that we talked about that we really need for the bluegill. It provides surfaces that threadfin shad should be able to get in there and lay their eggs right on all that surface area that the grass provides. So it's easy to assemble. easy to install. There's two different sizes available. There's a 24-inch and a 48-inch, so you can cover both kinds of water column. We're going to be using that 24-inch in, 3 foot of water or shallower. Kind of fits the look you want to have. If you want to have the 48-inch, I guess, and maybe a little less than 48 inches of water, it's going to lay up on the surface, so you'll be able to see that, and know where that's located. Maybe you stick one of those 48-inch products amongst the 24 that's down a little lower and you can't see it just as an earmark. When it comes to spawning colonies, just think about what you're going to be doing when you're trying to attract spawning. For years, we would come in and try to get rid of a muck layer and then put some gravel down, we put cinder blocks around it. You do it with these spawning colonies, it's almost instant that you're going to have it. Just pour a little bit of gravel. Once that disc is settled down there, it's going to be there forever. And so for your time commitment, you're going to get a big return on that investment. One of the products that Texas Hunters came out with is this fish pyramid, and I'm really excited about this. The fish pyramid, there's really not anything like that on the market that I've seen, and we've seen a lot of products. Because the way that the fish can get up inside those slots is really going to protect from bass and other predatory fish. But the one thing it's going to do is going to protect from birds, specifically cormorants, are not going to be able to get in there. Those fish are going to hide in those areas like that. So we're really excited about the protection of those bluegill in a way that hasn't been done before. If you really want to, increase the habitat in your lake, one of the best ways to use this Texas Hunter products, their line covers everything. From the lily pad providing shade, the fishing clusters providing shade, to a pyramid that's an incredible spot for some medium bluegill to get a little bit bigger, to the grass, to where the small fry can be protected, to the spawning habitat, to where from the very beginning stages you're going to get more little fry production. So the whole gamut of their products is going to increase the forage, increase the fishing capability of the lake. The other thing you want to think about on the placement of some habitat is when you've got a Texas Hunter feeder dispensing the food, obviously there's a lot of fish in that area, so protect those fish. Have some of the grass, have a pyramid outside that line where that fish feed is going, and that's a wonderful spot to place some of those habitats to get even more production in the lake.